Hi, welcome to Business Time. I am Melisha. Remember now to subscribe, like, and share. Today, we will be doing question 2 of the Principles of Business Paper 2, May, June 2022 exam. Now, let's go right into it. 2A says, define the term simple contract. Do you think you can come up with a definition on your own? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. All right, so let's look at a possible answer. A simple contract is a legally binding agreement between two or more persons with a promise to do something in return for a valuable benefit. It does not need to be signed, sealed, or delivered. And take note that it's 2 marks. Let's go to part 2. Describe the 3 characteristics of a specialty contract. Can you think about it? So it's not asking about the characteristics of a simple contract now, but a specialty contract. Think about it. All right, let's look at a possible answer. Now, there are 3 things that must be a part of a specialty contract. It must be signed, it must be sealed, and it must be delivered. And it says describe. So you really have to tell what it means for the contract to be signed, to be sealed, and delivered. When a contract is to be signed, it simply means that each person should put his or her signature on the document. So every party to the contract, all parties to the contract need to sign it. Okay? Now, when a contract is sealed, it simply means that it is a raised, when it's sealed, you use a raised design that cannot be erased, such as an embossed seal or wax seal. It is usually placed next to the signature. All right. Now, the third characteristic, where it says it should be delivered, it means that all parties must have a copy of the contract or must have at least seen the contract. Okay? So those are the 3 characteristics of a specialty contract. So remember, you're not just listing the characteristics, but you're also describing the characteristics. Let's move to the next question. All right, part B says, outline what is meant by each of the following conditions of offer and acceptance relating to a contract. Offer. You're to outline it. What can you say about an offer? What is it? Take a few seconds to think about it. All right, let's look at the answer. An offer is a proposal or bid to do something that can be accepted by another person. An offer must be communicated in an acceptable manner to the offeree, such as by post or telephone and so on. Right? So the person who makes the offer is the offerer, and the person to whom the offer is being made is the offeree. Good? So the next one is counter offer. What's a counter offer? Test yourself to see if you know the answer. Test yourself to see if you know the answer. All right, so let's look at the answer. Now, a counter offer is when the original offer is rejected by the offeree. And remember, the offeree is the person to whom the offer was being made, right? And the offeree makes a new or revised offer to the offerer who made the original offer. Therefore, if the counter offer is accepted, it voids the original offer. Okay? So let's look at the next question. Part C. Briefly explain one way in which a contract may be terminated or discharged. So what it simply means is that you have to identify that way and you have to explain it. So think about it. All right, let's look at a possible answer. It can be terminated or discharged by breach. And what this means is that a breach takes place when one party fails to carry out his or her side of the agreement. So basically, what that party agreed to do, the party did not do it or did not complete it, right? So on that basis, the contract is terminated. And there are other ways in which a contract can be terminated that you could have explained, such as by agreement, death, lapse of time, frustration, and by performance. All right? So let's look at D. D says, Doris offers to sell Mark one of her cars. She intends to sell him the red 5-year-old Tomato XL, but Mark thinks she is selling him the yellow 3-year-old Scotch Bonnet Deluxe, which he told Doris he liked very much. Mark sends his mechanic to check the car. The mechanic returns and tells him that the car is in very good working condition. Mark pays Doris for the car by way of a manager's check. However, when the car is delivered, it is the Tomato XL instead of the Scotch Bonnet Deluxe. Mark is convinced that Doris tricked him and plans to sue her. So, first question for this. State the legal term used to describe the situation that has occurred between Doris and Mark. Do you know the answer? It is a mutual mistake. Okay? So let's look at the next part of the question. It says, suggest 3 actions that could have been taken by either Doris or Mark to prevent this situation from occurring. What do you think? Let's explore. First of all, Doris was to make sure that what she was offering for sale was clear. There should have been no confusion. 2, Doris could put the offer in writing. So when she put it in writing, of course, it will give detail of what exactly she's selling. 3, Mark should have gotten confirmation on what was being offered for sale, since it seemed as if the contract was made orally. The agreement, since it seemed that the offer was made orally. And so that's critical. When something is done orally, you want to confirm, ask again, which of the cars are you selling, Doris? Mark could have done that, right? And there are other reasons that you could come up with that. These are just a few suggestions that you could use. All right, let's look at the next question. Recommend 2 ways in which the situation could be settled without Mark taking legal action. Can you think of any way? Let's see. Mark and Doris could talk about it, and both parties acknowledge that it was a mistake on their part, and Mark could have his mechanic look at the red car that Doris intended to sell. Or Doris could agree to sell Mark the yellow car. You know, since Mark got his mechanic to check it out already and all of that. So guess what? They can sit down and sort it out. Nobody needs to go to court or to get a lawyer for this situation. It can be worked out. Okay, so that is it for question 2. Look out for question 3. Now, I hope you learned something. See you next time.